This evening, an important update to a story that Two on Your Side has been investigating for years, along with our partners at Investigative Post. Allegations of inappropriate, even legally questionable behavior at the Western New York Off-Track Betting, or OTB. The latest development is that Erie County Comptroller Kevin Hardwick has sent several letters to OTB's president and CEO asking questions about the questionable spending and perks. Erie County is one of the government entities that owns OTB, kind of this quasi-government entity. Hardwick wants answers on health insurance for board members, OTB's sale of land to a group of hotel developers, and most recently, how much OTB has spent to hire attorneys for those actions and others. Well, for the first time tonight, we're getting to take questions directly to that elected official who is looking into all of this. Joining us live right now is Kevin Hardwick, the Erie County Comptroller. Thanks so much for coming in studio, sir. It's good to see you.
You're welcome, Mike. Nice to see you.
So first, I wonder how this got on your radar. I mean, I know it's been on a lot of people's radar over the years. It's not a new issue. You're relatively new to the office. But how you came across this, what you feel like your role is in it, and you know, these letters, I have a copy of the most recent one that you've sent, what you're hoping to learn here.
Well, it wasn't the first thing on my agenda when I assumed office January 1st. There was a lot of other stuff that we needed to do. But I did run last year on a good government platform. I said that I've taught good government to my students at Canisius College for the last 3 decades, and I wanted to bring that to the Comptroller's office. Now the Comptroller is the Chief Financial Officer of Erie County, but also the Chief Auditing Officer. And in that role, you know, we hold people in power accountable. Channel 2 doesn't have a lock on that. Well, that's part of what we do. I hope I haven't infringed on your copyright there, but it is what we do. And for years, there have been questions, allegations swirling around OTB. And since Erie County is one of the owners, along with 16 other counties and the city of Buffalo, city of Rochester, I thought it was, after half a year in office, it was about time to do some research. So my staff has been doing some research, poring over board minutes, and I wanted to pose a lot of questions to the folks at OTB, and so far I haven't gotten a lot of answers.
Yeah, so let me ask you about the kind of back and forth that's happened here, because we've got copies of these letters. You obviously sent, you know, kind of laying out, here's what we would like to learn about. And the latest response, which is just dated yesterday from OTB's president and CEO, Henry Witasick, who is a name that a lot of Western New Yorkers are familiar with. He basically says, look, this isn't your job. I appreciate your concern, so file a FOIL request and maybe we'll give you what you want. Is that a reasonable response in your view?
Well, no, it's not. I mean, Erie County is one of the part owners of this. I am the chief auditing, the chief financial officer of Erie County. I think asking a question, I shouldn't have to jump through the hoops like so many media organizations have. I mean, they've asked for information, and they've, you know, to a large extent been stonewalled by OTB. I think we deserve some answers. It's not like they're difficult questions. I mean, there's a question, you know, one of the basic questions is about health insurance. The state comptroller has said that it is impermissible to provide health insurance at taxpayer expense, as it were, to the board members of Western Regional OTB. Yet they've done it, and they apparently continue to do it. And one of my questions is, are you continuing to do it even after the comptroller has said it's impermissible? And if so, how much is this costing? I mean, I think that's a legitimate question. I don't think that, you know, the people's representatives should have to file freedom of information requests to get that information. If they have nothing to hide, they should tell us.
Our colleague Jeff Kelly at Investigative Post, who works closely with Channel 2, I've asked him this question before because he's done a lot of this reporting about why the public should care about this. And you touched on it a little bit there, that Erie County is one of the owners and that, you know, we benefit in terms of money coming in from OTB. And so we're essentially talking about taxpayer money here. And I guess in that context of why people should care, what are some of the most troubling things that you want to look into beyond the health benefits?
Well, obviously there's money at stake, but it's also a question of transparency. I mean, the other thing that my initial letter was about the hotel that was built, I think they sold the land to a group of investors in 2015. The hotel was built and opened in 2016. And then a few years later, OTB is buying it back from the investors at a considerable profit, apparently. I mean, we're talking $2.5 million maybe. profit. And I think from a good government standpoint, from a transparency standpoint, some questions should be addressed. I think people are curious. I'm curious. Who came up with this idea to build a hotel? Did the investors approach you? Did you approach the investors? And once it was built, who said, well, we should buy it back at this considerable profit? And how much of a profit? I think these are legitimate questions, and yeah, we could probably go through jumping through the hoops of the Freedom of Information law. But I think that public officials, whether it's public officials in Erie County or any of the other counties, or the city of Rochester, city of Buffalo, ought to be able to ask and have these questions answered.
Finally, Kevin, I've got about a minute left, and I'm going to tell the control room I'm not going to go with the last issue that I had planned here because I want to follow up one final thing. What is the solution here then? Because we've been talking about this for going on 8 years or longer. Is it to the point now where the state legislature, which would have ultimate authority here, needs to change how OTB operates and to whom it is held accountable?
I know that there are some state legislators looking into that. I know that there's some state legislation making its way through Albany. That may be what it comes to. But in the short term, I think we deserve answers to these very simple questions. And it's kind of frustrating that we're not getting them.
Well, we certainly appreciate you coming in and helping us understand your role in this, and hope you'll keep us apprised. And to Western Regional OTB, obviously we look forward to any response there as well. Kevin Hardwick is the Erie County Comptroller. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in.